Okay. What?
Okay, is that right?
Yeah, that's Yeti.
Oh, it's Chatty.
I had to change things.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it should be working. So
Yeah, so hopefully everybody can hear us.
okay. Yep, they should be able to.
What? Okay, is
Okay, hello everybody. Let me know if you can hear us and see us okay.
yeah. Hi, Andy. Hi, Jeannie. Hi, Marlene.
Because I've changed the sound settings today, and I'll explain why in a moment, but just right now, just let us know that you can hear us.
Oh.
Well, it takes time. There's
Okay.
a time delay. So you have to wait for that. Because I heard it on here. Just let us know that you can hear us.
Well, okay, so it should be okay. Yeah, they can hear us.
Okay, that's good. So hi, Andy. Hi, Janine.
You
Jeannie.
turn that off because now you're going to have
Yeah, I
feedback.
know. Okay, would you? I was doing that on purpose so I could monitor. Great. So
Yeah,
what
but then the microphone will
I
pick it
know,
up
but
and
I
it'll-
wasn't
oh.
going to. Never mind. Okay, Marilyn says sound is good. So once again, hi, Andy. Hi, Jeannie. Hi, Marilyn. Hi, Marilyn. Or Marlene. Sorry, Marlene. Hello, Marilyn. Okay, got it all good. So. Yeah, so we'll just give it a couple of seconds here and see who else is here and see what else that Walter can bitch about before we get started. Okay, great. Thanks, Marlene, for that. So, okay, so, well, I'll tell you about the sound system here. When I play back the recording, I didn't really like the way it sounded. It sounded kind of tinny and whatnot. So that has to do with the microphone. Microphone I was using is going through the computer. It's the one that's built into the laptop. Oh, Andy, never mind. But so I do have a big microphone called a Yeti. I've had it for a while. I use it when I do Zooms, actually, from my sewing room. So I brought it out this morning. I spent about 2 hours this morning playing around with different sound settings and different things, and I think this might work okay. So you guys are saying you can hear us, and that's good. That's fine, and so we'll go from there. It's been a week where I've been having trouble with microphones. I don't know if you saw my vlog on Monday, but I had to record it twice because the first time I went through the whole thing and my microphone died and I didn't realize it had died. And this is the second time one of those microphones has died. So I guess I'm not buying that brand again with it. They're cheap. So now tomorrow on the vlog, I'll be using this Yeti with it because I have also set that up so it can use it. So we'll see how that all works out. But anyways, technical problems when you do this kind of stuff, I guess. So let's get into things today. You'll notice I called this Common Sense Knot, and we'll come to why I'm calling it that. We'll get there. But let's talk about my mother. Update. Well, last Sunday I told you that she was out of the hospital and everything and on oxygen still, but she was back at the nursing home and we were taking it one day at a time from there. On Tuesday, I had a FaceTime with her. And she was still in bed, but she didn't have any oxygen. And she had better color in her face, although that might have been the exposure through the Facebook or FaceTime, I don't know. And she was much more coherent than she was on the Sunday when we had seen her. On the Sunday, she seemed to be out of it. So I thought, okay, this is looking up. So that was fine. I encouraged her, to make an effort to get them to get her up and in her chair and to get out of her room a little bit more, because she needs to move about. Because otherwise, I told her, you're going to get bed sores, and that's not going to be good, Mom. So, anyways, on Wednesday, I got a call from one of the staff people over there telling me, yep, she was off oxygen, she was up, she was dressed, she was in her chair, she was out in the lounge area. And I asked, well, is she throwing up anymore? And they said, nope. And I said, is she eating? She said, yeah, she had her breakfast and everything and that, and she was fine. So I thought, well, great. The antibiotics are kicking in that they gave her, and yeah, things are looking up. So then my sister went over on Thursday with my nephew to visit her. She was back in bed on oxygen. But my sister said she seemed relatively lively. Maybe they had her in the wheel or in the bed because of the oxygen, because that oxygen she has is not portable by the looks of things, because it was a stand or something.
Yeah, no, it's like, it looks like one of those air conditioners that you put on the floor, like it's like almost looks like a dehumidifier. It's what they call a concentrator.
Oh. Well, anyways, but my sister said the lunch lady came in and asked my mom what she'd like for lunch. Would she like a sandwich or would she like pierogies? Well, my sister said she perked right up when she heard pierogies, because my mother does love pierogies. And yeah, she'd have the pierogies. So that was good. And that's the last I know. I haven't had any calls telling me anything has really changed in the negative, nor have I had anything call me telling me things are in the positive. But I'm going over on Tuesday. It's my turn this coming week to go over and visit her. So we'll see what state she's in then. So I don't know. I don't know what to think. It's, take it day by day, I guess. But anyways, I was really excited because when I got the call saying that she was up, and I mean, the staff person started off saying, I've got good news for you. And I thought, oh, okay, because this is not usually what I get. And yeah, I thought that was really good. But I got the bill for the transportation, the finalized version of it. I told you about we have to pay. Now, I know anybody that's on here that's an American are just going to say, play me the tiny little violin on this one, because I know it's so like much, much, much more expensive in the States for this kind of thing. And I understand that. But here in Canada, our healthcare system, as you know, is different. But nevertheless, I got this bill. They told me it was going to be $160.18, with the possibility that there was that they might charge overtime, something like $2 a minute for every minute that was over their 15-minute window of getting her out there. I thought, yeah, okay, fine. So I got the bill. The bill was not $160. The final bill was $293. They charged $170 and some odd cents, not $160, for the base charge. So the woman who told me this on the phone, she got that screwed up somehow. And they charged me overtime of 7 minutes, and that came to $16 and some odd cents for that. Then there was a service charge for $73 and some odd cents. And then there's taxes on top of all of this. Now, I'm not sure what the service charge is. I didn't know if it was an administration fee or whatever, but then Walter says they probably charged for the oxygen, because they had her on oxygen when they took her back to the nursing home. So that's probably what it was. But anyways, yeah. So I know if you're an American and you hear that price on it, you're probably saying, yeah, really, cry me a river. You're lucky that's all it cost you. And you're right. We are. But as
you didn't get any bill for the ambulance right there.
No, I haven't got the ambulance bill yet. I'm expecting that at some point in time. Who knows how soon that'll come. So that's an additional charge. So her little 6-hour, 7-hour, whatever outing is costing, well, if you had the ambulance charge on it, over $300, close to $400.
You don't have to pay anything for the hospital, and you didn't have to
No,
pay.
that's true.
As far as I know, you probably didn't have to pay anything for the antibiotics either.
No, I don't think so. I think that, well, I'll find out when her Smart Meds bill comes through, but no, they probably don't have to pay for that.
Well, I guess Teresa had to skip an ad.
Well, yeah, but that's normal.
Yeah.
That's nothing we can do about that, as you guys know. That's the way YouTube works these days. I try to set it up where you'll get the minimal amount of interruption from that, but there's only so much I can do. It's the way YouTube works these days. So, hi, Ann. Oh, and hi, Teresa. I didn't say hi to Teresa either. So anyways, yeah, I'm a little pissed off at that, but there's not a bloody thing I can do. So I just have to look at it from the point of view that I'm glad I'm not in the States. So anyways, and to be told that she has, pneumonia. And then, okay, just to add a little bit more on this. So I did talk to the nurse practitioner this week. And I said to her, well, something in the conversation about her having pneumonia. And I said, I know it's not viral pneumonia. I said it's from her, what do they call that? Always aspiration from her throwing up. And she goes, she doesn't have pneumonia. And I said, the nurse at the hospital told me she did. She said, well, they didn't find, she saw the x-rays or something they took. And she says, there was nothing in her lungs. And they checked her for a hiatus hernia. And they checked her for a bowel obstruction with all this. And everything came back clear. So who do you believe? Who do you believe? Hi, Cheryl. So I don't know. Oh, well.
Well, she is perking up supposedly after the hospital. So I would imagine that it's helping somewhat. So she might have had a very mild case of pneumonia, because I don't think the X-ray would show that very well.
No, that's what Anita kind of said too. But who do I believe?
Yeah, I know.
I'm getting different stories from health professionals. These are people, okay, put it in the case of, I was a professional. I was an education professional.
Yeah.
If I'd walked in to a parent-teacher interview and say the kid was in to the guidance department or the special ed department, and the special ed department had turned around and said, well, told the parent, your child has a learning disability and this is what we're doing about it. And then I turned around and I said to the same parent, oh, your kid's fine. No, there's no learning disability.
Yeah, I know.
Who would they believe? I mean, everybody should be on the same page.
Yeah, I know.
But they're not.
They're not. Yeah, I know.
And so, really, I mean, I'd get reports from the special ed teachers who are in the know for this stuff that would tell me, Johnny has a learning disability. Here's our strategy for dealing with him. Then I would look at that. I would put the strategies into place for the classroom. When the parent comes in, I'd be on the same page as the special ed. The parent knew. But it doesn't seem to work that way in healthcare.
I know, it seems weird, yeah.
So, but whatever. So it's basically an emotional roller coaster, because I don't know what I'm going to find next week. But there isn't much I can do about it. Just have to take it as it comes, I guess. But anyways, so as far as I know right now, my mother's as well as she can be. And I'll just accept that. So, what are you working on?
Nothing
Besides
at the
making
moment.
me ugly at times.
Nothing at the moment, other than I'm still doing my shirt. I was going to break it down, but I forgot. But there's not much to see. It still doesn't have sleeves.
No. Didn't you have a problem with it this week? You were doing
something?
something?
I had a lot of problems with this shirt.
Like what?
This shirt is just not. No, I made a mistake with the placket, the part that holds the buttons, and I thought, oh no, because I was trying to follow the instructor on the night that we were doing it, and then what he said and what I had in my head turned out to be something completely different. So I told us to fold over the placket and iron it down. We had like steam seam on it, which I did, but I was supposed to fold it in half and iron it down.
Oh.
So I was able, luckily it didn't stick too hard, so I was able to peel it back off and just fix that, right? But then, so that was one thing. And then after I ironed that out, I realized there was a rogue piece of steam seam on my pressing mat, and it affixed itself to the front of the shirt, and I couldn't get it off. And so, so I thought, oh no, I got to cut another piece out. So, but then I realized that the pocket would cover it, right? So I put the pocket on, and then I went to iron it, and my iron had a dirty thing on it, so it adhered to the front of the pocket. And I tried to get it off, and it's off reasonably well. I got that point in time, I'm not that happy with this shirt that I'm making, and hopefully it washes out and you can't notice it that well. And because the other alternative was cut a new pocket and tear the other one off. And I thought, screw it, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, but in all honesty, are you ever going to wear this shirt?
It's
a tunic.
It's a tunic. It's not really something I think I would wear. I'm only doing it just for some experience. And I don't know. So far, I don't like the material at all.
Well, geez, this is just a lose-lose, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Throughout it all. Oh, well. At least what you are learning is what you don't like.
Yeah, I know.
Hi, Dana. Hi, Judith. Yes, I got a haircut, Dana. Walter hasn't got a haircut. When is your next haircut?
26th.
Oh, well, it's next week. This week coming. Okay.
So, I don't know, maybe it's 24th.
You really need to check so you show up in the right day. Well, the 24th would be Tuesday, right? 26th would be Thursday. So, but anyways, so you haven't been working on anything else except trying to hack away at this tunic.
Yeah, it's the 24th, so I've got it.
So it's Tuesday.
Yeah.
What time in the afternoon?
3 o'clock or something.
Oh, okay. Whatever. So anyway, so Dana, I see. Have you returned, Dana, from your trip and everything? And where were you, Dana, when you called me? You said something. It sounded like there was a moose in it. And I know it wasn't moose jaw, so, or moose knee, because I don't think it was moose jaw. Where's moose jaw? Moose jaw's not in Ontario. Moose jaw's in Saskatchewan, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I don't know. It's way up north there someplace. So, yeah. So what have I been working on? A few things. I think I showed you this before. I'm not sure, but I'm showing it to you again in case. This is my Santa Claus pincushion. Right there. He's made with rainbow color. And I have finished 4 of these. I've showed you these in bits and pieces, but this is what the final product looks like. And that's what this is going to go with the Santa Claus pincushion as well. And this is what the back looks like. And it is quilted and everything. I don't know if you can see the quilting lines. If you look in the one of the solid red squares, you can see it. Just walking foot. But I still have about 4 more of those I need to make. Hi, Wendy. Oh, that's it. Moose Mountain Provincial Park. Oh, okay. So how far? I'm assuming that's in Saskatchewan, Dana. So how far away from Regina is that? And I would assume it's north of Regina. So I've been working on that, and I just finished a couple hours ago. This is a Christmas quilt that I'm working on. I gotta get out here the way so you can see it. I'm making this as a gift. I just got the top done. Of course, it hasn't been layered or anything. And it is my own design. I'll move way back. Way back. So this is going to be a gift. It's just a lap size quilt. My own design. Actually, it started out with being a pattern that I found that I thought I could make it from. But as I got working on the pattern, I didn't really like how it was turning out, so I just abandoned the pattern. And if you look in the center part of the quilt, I had this big solid block of red poinsettia, and I thought it needed something in the middle. So I created a patch on my embroidery machine, and I put it on the same background fabric, so it doesn't look like it's a separate piece. It looks like it was actually embroidered onto that square panel in the center, and I think it turned out pretty good. And I used my circular sewing tool after I got it embroidered to do the outside satin stitching all the way around it, and I actually used the circular sewing tool to attach it as well. So my stitches are all nice and even, and I did them in the same color as the background fabric, so you can't really see them. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with the way it's turned out now. So next stage is see if I have what I've got that I can use for backing fabric, and then get it, and then quilt it. And I have an idea for another Christmas quilt too that I can make from scraps. I saw this, I forget what she called herself, RR Sewing or something like this. And this particular lady was doing basically making what's called a crumb quilt, but she called it a trash quilt. And she had a little different method for putting all the little bits and pieces together. She would sew two random little pieces of fabric together and call it a twosie. So she'd make all these things she called twosies together. Then she'd put twosies together with another twosie, and those became a foursie. And she'd make all these foursies that way. Then she'd put 4 to 4, and they were 8sies. And then it went on from there, 16ies, 32ish or something. But it's crumb quilting. It's what they call crumb quilting. But I just thought it was a little bit different way of doing it than I'd seen before. So anyway, so your sewing teacher. I'm not sure what your first name is, but I saw your message to me today, and yes, about interviewing you. And yeah, if people are not familiar with your sewing teacher, this is a lady here in Canada. You're in Ontario, are you not? I think. And I've been watching her channel, and lots of good stuff on there. So if you're sewing, you should check her out. And if you want, you can put your just type your YouTube channel link in here. Actually, I think if people right-click on you...
She is Amy.
Amy. Okay, Amy. Yeah. I think if you right-click on... Oh, I can't do that from here. On her... I think you might get the link. I'm not sure how that works. So Dana says, southeast of Regina, about 90 minutes. First 2 days were lovely weather-wise. Next 4 days, rain, boring, because I couldn't sew on the picnic table. Oh, so Dana, did you take your sewing machine with you? Or were you doing hand sewing? Pouring rain here and drying all day. Rain is too late for the farmers, plus 10 degrees. 10 degrees or 100 degrees C? No, it can't be 100 degrees C. You'd be boiling. Must be 10 degrees.
Yeah, here it's been dry for weeks. They keep saying it's going to rain, and it doesn't.
No. So we've had to water. We've got tomatoes coming out of our yin-yangs. Like I'm telling you. I don't know what we're going to do with them all. Well, we have to make sauce. We have to make sauce. Make sauce and bottle it or freeze it. Freeze it and whatnot.
Tomato soup.
Yes, we make tomato soup. We have to get on with that. Okay. Do that. Actually, I think there's something like, I think you can make chili sauce out of it too.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I have to look up a recipe for that.
And we can use it for sandwiches and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll be sick of tomatoes, or we'll be giving them to the chipmunks. So we went shopping. Well, I did. Walter didn't. At Ultimate Sewing as well. And there was a line of fabric that Shirley got in on my recommendation. She didn't have much of it, though.
She took her sewing machine.
Oh, had plans sewing.
Must have had that.
Oh, so you had electrical outlets. You weren't camping. You were glamping.
Yeah, the Weather Network seems to be wrong. Well, it has been pretty accurate for a while, and then this last couple of weeks, it's been really bad. They don't.
Well, I'm not going to complain about the heat because you know what's going to happen. In a few weeks from now, it'll get cold.
Yeah. And
that'll be it. Summer will be over, and so might as well enjoy it while we've got it. Roll living room rug. On my jelly roll living room. Oh, okay. You're making a great big huge one, Dana? And I only made one of those once. Walter made one too. And I said, okay, done that, been there, not doing that again. Didn't really appeal to me. But anyways, we went over to Ultimate Sewing because Shirley got in this fabric that I was really interested in. She only got in 4 different parts of the colorway, or pieces of the colorway. One I wasn't that fond of, but the other 3 I was, so I bought 2 meters of each of those, and then I had to get some Halloween fabric because I have this Halloween panel that I want to make. So here's a quickie preview. Now, I don't know what color it is. It's coming up on your screen. This is actually purple, not blue. On my screen, it looks blue for some reason, but it's actually purple on that. Although that would be nice and blue though too, if that could get that shade. And I got some pumpkin stuff too. So I have some others. I just wanted these to fill it out and then I'm going to see what I'm going to do with that panel. But yeah, it's even when they say it comes out blue.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Because
Yeah, I've had it too where
our shirts are the right color.
well, I've had it too where I have if you look at the blue that I'm using for the tunic, it looks completely different on the screen than it does on in real life.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the color shift. Yeah, I know. It looks like royal blue. Actually, I kind of like the shade.
But it is actually purple.
But it is.
So I
it's
wonder
purple.
if your white balance is out of whack or something.
Maybe. I'm not going to adjust it right now.
I know I have the same problem on my monitor, so
I'm not going to worry about it. It's not the end of the world at the moment. But it's just funny. Your shirt's pretty accurate.
I think it looks bluer than it as in real life. Mine's the one that I have on is really teal color.
Well, I suppose maybe.
Yeah, it looks bluer.
Oh, well, whatever. So, and I also bought this book. I saw it there. It's an impulse buy. I don't usually buy quilting books or magazines that much unless there's something in them. But I needed some ideas for what to do with this panel. And, well...
See, your Post-it note's purple and it's...
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so that's what's happening. There's a shift on that. Anyways, I saw this design, which I'm thinking might make interesting border treatment for the panel. So, I'll see. I don't know. I won't know until I get started. And you know me, I'll probably start on one idea and it'll come out with something totally different because I'll change the idea halfway through. Because that's what I do. Okay, so that's what I've been working on. And now, we've been talking about I titled this Common Sense Not because it seems this week, everything I've been hearing on the news about all kinds of things, it's like people have lost all their reasonable attitude about things. Maybe people were never reasonable. But for example, here in Ontario, our premier has said he will not, come hell or high water, mandate vaccine passports, which is just stupid. In the province next door to us, Quebec, they're going to have them, which is kind of funny because Quebec is a very special province in Canada, meaning that they do whatever the hell they want to, and it's never usually what the rest of the country is doing. And to be quite honest, most of the things that Quebec does doesn't make a lot of sense, but this does. But not in Ontario, and he won't give any explanation for why, except he did once say he didn't want to create a two-tiered system. Well, what's the two-tiered system? If we had vaccine passports...
Well, one of the problems that's being run into is that a lot of places are saying that they won't accept you unless you're vaccinated, like sporting venues and stuff like that.
Well, no, they just started that in reaction to what he has said about not issuing a province-wide passport.
Yeah.
So he's got these places. He did say that businesses could make up their own rules. If it beyond what...
Well, basically what he doesn't want to make a decision because he doesn't want to alienate voters.
Well,
and he wants to leave it up to the businesses to be the bad guys.
to be the bad guys. But the thing is, this is not showing leadership.
No, it isn't.
And also, the people who would be upset with him putting in a vaccine passport are basically the rednecks that put him in power in the first place. Ford Nation. That's it. I mean, good God. They've even done statistics. The majority of people in Ontario want a vaccine passport. Businesses, it would make life so much easier for businesses. Because you come, you've got it on your phone. It's like a scan thing. And no problem. You just show that way. Away you go into a restaurant, into a store, or whatever.
Yeah, because we asked actually the lady that's running the store she's going to start classes again in September. And we asked her point blank, so you're going to ask for your customers to be vaccinated. I mean, I would feel much more comfortable being in a classroom knowing everybody is vaccinated than finding out that somebody isn't.
Yeah, and she's intending to start classes up in September again. And we're both booked into, these are the classes that got canceled during COVID, but we've already signed up and paid for them, kind of a thing. My class isn't until November, but your class is in September that she's having.
Yeah.
And I've already decided that the first day I walk into that classroom, I'm going to ask everybody that's in the room. I'm going to say, so everybody's here is double vaxxed, right? And if anybody gives me attitude about asking them, I'm leaving. I'm not taking the class. I don't care about the money I spent because I'm not putting myself into jeopardy with this. And she would be very happy with a passport thing because it takes the onus off her. She doesn't want to alienate her clientele, you know, or anything like that. But at the same time, she wants to keep her staff safe, and she wants to keep the people that are her clientele that are coming in there safe. Now, I don't think there's going to be a major problem there because I think a lot of her clientele, they're very loyal customers, and they want to do everything they can to support Shirley. So I don't think there's going to be a problem, but you always get a redneck in a crowd somewhere. And it would just make more sense to have a passport. But now businesses are doing things like this. They're saying, okay, you've got to prove that you're vaccinated to come in here. Well, good for them. But really, their life could be a lot easier if our government showed some leadership.
Yeah, I know. Like there's a problem that I guess some restaurants in Toronto
Hi, Joan.
have been asking for vaccinations, or they've been saying if you're not vaccinated, you have to sit on the patio or something like that. And they've had anti-vaxxers go online and give them lousy reviews.
Yeah, which isn't right. And Amy says, we've had vaccine passports in Canada for years. My kids all have one. At school, the kids get letters if they're not vaccinated. They get suspended if they don't have their regular vaccines. That's right. It's exactly right.
Yeah, and when I was a kid, well, actually, when I was young.
Hi, Fidel.
And I first started working full-time, I had to go, I think I said this before, I had to go for a full physical. And I had to prove that I had x-rays for tuberculosis.
So did I.
And I also had, when I was a kid, I had a vaccine passport that showed that I was inoculated for everything, including polio.
Yeah.
So that I could travel with my parents back to Europe. So
yeah. Well, when I started teaching, terms of signing a contract I had to have a tuberculosis test, and I had to have a tuberculosis test every 2 years, I think it was. They don't do that anymore, as such, but I had to have it. It was the terms for employment. Now, the one thing the provincial government has done, and I think they're doing it because the federal government has done it, the federal government says all federal government employees must be double vaxxed. Well, now the Ontario government has said all provincial employees have to be double vaxxed. And I think he's finally put down that all healthcare workers have to be, don't they?
Yeah, but if they can, wait, there depends. The provincial government stand is all healthcare workers have to be vaccinated, double vaxxed by a certain date in October, I believe.
Yeah.
And but if you have a medical reason why you can't, you have to prove that you have a medical reason that you can't. And if you don't get double vaxxed, you have to have at least bi-weekly tests to prove that you don't have COVID.
Yeah. Well, Kathy says you can still get COVID even though you're double vaccinated. Passports are not a perfect solution. And Judith says not a perfect solution, but it makes paper safer.
Yes, that's true.
And what it also does, Kathy, is it forces those people who haven't got a vaccine yet for whatever reason, short of a medical reason for it, it forces them then to go out and get one. If they can't go into a restaurant without it, if they can't go into certain stores, if they can't go to certain public venues, it'll make them think twice.
Not only that, if people aren't vaccinated, they're more susceptible to getting sick. And wouldn't it be in their best interest that they shouldn't be going out?
Yeah, that's right. Well, our numbers are up in Ontario right now, but now they're reporting that out of 500 cases, for example, 300 and some odd number, 400 some are in people who have not been vaccinated.
And since it's their smaller part of the population are people that are not vaccinated, that's even worse.
Yeah, there is no excuse for it. I am sorry, and I will strongly disagree with anybody who is an anti-vaxxer, And even these people that supposedly have a medical exemption, they did put now they're putting exactly
the
why,
University
what
Health,
they had to be.
the University Health Network, which is one of the largest health networks in Toronto. They run several of the largest hospitals in Canada. They have stated that all employees that work in the building, regardless of whether you're a nurse or a doctor or somebody that cleans the floors or whatever, all have to be vaccinated. And if you can't be vaccinated, you have to have a medical reason. And they have a couple of conditions that actually are valid medical reasons that you can't get vaccinated. And if that's and if you don't fall into that category where you can prove you have a medical reason, and one of the reasons is that you are allergic to some of the components of the vaccine, but you actually have to go to a specialist to prove that you don't have that.
Yeah.
Right? So they need a lot of proof. And then what will happen is by the certain date, I can't remember what the date is, but if you're not doubly vaccinated by that certain date, then they'll put you on suspension. And then after 2 weeks on suspension, if you still haven't even gotten the first vaccine, then you're automatically fired.
Yeah. And I think that is the right tactic to take. And also this medical exemption thing, I think they need to prove it. It's not good enough to say, oh yeah, I've got a medical exemption for it. No. Show us the paperwork. Show the official document that says you have an exemption for it. And if anybody screams this is a violation of our human rights and privacy, they can go to hell, because it isn't. What about my rights to stay safe from it? If I don't know that you actually are a carrier of COVID and the whole bit, I don't want you around me at all. I want you to, basically, you've got to prove it. Take some civil responsibility. And this thing with people talking about their personal rights and freedoms and the whole bit, let's get off the case, okay, shall we, on this? This is not a human rights issue. This isn't a privacy issue. Like, that sounds like the anti-maskers and anti-vaxxers, the ones that are going, oh, well, it's a government conspiracy to control us. I have news for you. If you are so stupid and haven't figured out the government already controls our lives to a certain extent, then where have you been? What rock have you been living under? What drug overdose are you taking? Really? You can tell I get very passionate about this, because I'm telling you, I'm not putting up with this shit. So if I run into somebody that says, oh, well, I'm not getting vaccinated, I don't know, I'll say, why don't you just stand out in the middle of the 401 and get hit by a car? Because I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to be the Canadian who goes, oh, I'm sorry. No, sorry. No. No, I just said it, sorry. That's a bit of a joke there. Okay. Marilyn says, I had a girlfriend trip planned in September, found out 2 people were anti-vaxxers, so canceled. Yeah, good for you, Marilyn. Yeah, there are some sacrifices we have to make to keep ourselves safe, and so we can't go on a trip.
Well, not only that, what happens if those 2 people get sick, and how's that work with if you're all in a group? How's that work?
Yeah. Well, if this person is in your group, or these people in your group, and they test positive for COVID, and even though you may have been vaccinated and you don't get it, the rules right now are you're going to have to go into isolation.
Yeah, well, not only that, you can still get it from these people if you're vaccinated and test positive, because they've proven that in the States anyway, that happened is that a function required everybody to be vaccinated. And lots of people showed out and they were in close contact with each other. And then they found out that a bunch of them still got sick or still got it. But obviously not as, I don't think they got it as bad because they were all vaccinated. But they showed that it could still spread from vaccinated people to anti-vaccinated.
But all of this comes down to common sense.
Yeah.
None of this is rocket science, but there are those people in our society that are trying to make the whole thing a lot more complicated than it needs to be. We've known about vaccinations for 100 years. I mean, that's why we don't all run around with polio or tuberculosis or smallpox and all that kind of stuff. We know that. Yet, in the face of all of this scientific knowledge, in the face of common sense, there are people that are refuting that. And these people that are refuting it are not scientists or health professionals in most cases.
One of the problem is that a lot of the people that are living right now have never experienced a disease that until now that is affecting them in this way.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, those people are probably weren't alive when polio was existed, and it was a godsend that there was a polio vaccine.
Well, yeah, the people that are in the 20 and 30 and early 40 age group, they don't know a time.
No, they have no idea.
They don't. It's all been good, so they haven't got a clue.
And any diseases that do exist that are non-curable, like AIDS and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Well, Amy says from the studies we're seeing, those who are hospitalized with COVID and are vaxxed have underlying health issues. Yeah, that's true. They already have other issues that are...
Well, and you got to also remember that the vaccines aren't 100% effective either.
No.
Like, they are...
but they're better than nothing.
Yeah, they're better than nothing.
In fact, they're much better than nothing.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. So, what I'm saying, common sense. If you have half a brain in your head in the 21st century, you know a lot of this stuff already out of it. So other things about common sense. Okay, keeping our border open for the Americans. Whose idea was that? The Americans are actually showing right now some common sense, believe it or not. They're keeping the border closed. We as Canadians can't go into the States, whether we're double vaxxed or not. But in Canada, if an American is double vaxxed and they can prove it, and they've had their test, whatever it is, 72 hours before or something, they can come into our country. Holy crap. That is so dumb. I mean, we've always had a mutual agreement with the United States about the way the border runs. I mean, we do have, our claim to fame is the longest undefended border in the world. And we're kind of proud of that because it reflects our relationship with Americans and Americans with us on a positive note. But so what's our government doing? They bowed down to the pressure put on them by the tourist industry and opened up the border. Well, you can't tell me that there's not going to be some people who haven't been double vaxxed. And even if they are double vaxxed, the point is, it's not a mutual agreeing thing at all. What happened to Trudeau and Biden talking? They were playing all nicey nice for quite a while. You know, what's this all about now? I mean, if I was Biden, I'd be a little pissed off with Trudeau. I really would be. What are people saying here? Look at that. Kathleen says, imagine all these people having to be in iron lung machines. Yep. I think the first vaccination was for smallpox used in George Washington's army during the Revolutionary War. Could have been. I don't know. And Kathy says, my brother was left paralyzed from the waist down by polio. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a girl I went to school with who wore leg braces and had difficulty walking. And she had polio.
Okay. Now, to say a little bit more about this common sense idea and to go on with what Kathy's saying about, that it's not 100% and everything. Well, yeah, that's true. And there's all the anti-vaxxers that are saying they don't know what the long-term effects are. For example, we had an MPP, a member of our provincial parliament, Ford, which was a good idea. I don't like Ford. I think he's a weak leader, and I think he's a lot of other things. But I do agree with this. He said anybody in the Conservative caucus had to be double vaxxed. And if they didn't get double vaxxed, they would be ousted from the caucus, which basically means they're kicked out of the party. And even though they're an MPP, they would become an independent. Well, an independent gets nowhere in our government as far as their effect on decisions that are made. So there were two. One from Scarborough, And she apparently has a medical, it was a medical exemption, didn't she get, or something?
Supposedly, yeah.
Which I think it's a little iffy because, okay, she's youngish. I'd say she's probably only in her 40s. I don't know. It's hard to tell by a picture. She looks pretty much in good health. Now, maybe there's something there that you can't see outwards. That's a possibility. But the other guy was an
nobody's ever said what the medical exemption is.
No.
So.
The other guy was 69 years old, is 69 years old, and he turned around and said he and his wife were not going to get the vaccine.
Because he's afraid of long-term effects. Well,
Yeah.
after 69, how much?
How long is your effects going to be? Yeah, really.
And the other thing is he's determined that he's decided not to take this vaccine because he doesn't like the fact that it might be poisoning his system or whatever.
But you see, here's the common sense part of this that he isn't showing any. First of all, he's an elected member of parliament. We expect our leaders that we put into power to be an example. And he is not being example. What he's doing is throwing fuel on the fire to the anti-vaxxers out there are going to look to him as guidance. Now, well, look, he's an MPP. He says this, so it's got to be right. So that's being irresponsible in your position of leadership right there. I think I'll say this for Ford when he made this declaration that you had to be vaxxed in order to be in the caucus. That was showing common sense, and that was showing leadership.
He was forced into it.
He was forced into it, but nevertheless, he did it. And I think that may have an effect on what they call Ford Nation, his supporters, because they seem to hang on every word that he says. So if he says this is the way it's going to be, they will follow suit. So regardless of his reasons for saying that, which I'm pretty sure were not reasons that most people would think were honorable, nevertheless, he still made that declaration, and he has stuck to his guns. The guy is out. The guy is out. So that sends out a message, a strong message. I still won't vote for him in the next election because I still think he's an asshole. But I think that was a good thing that he did. Marilyn says, I noticed since the borders were closed, Walmart in Alberta is a little empty in the farm department.
Or is it because Americans are coming up again? Like, I don't quite understand.
Yeah, well, I know since the borders were closed, Walmart in Alberta is a little empty.
Why would the pharmacy department in Walmart be empty? Okay. If the borders were closed, yeah, they probably were packing them in. From ones coming from the States to get prescriptions filled.
Can they get their prescriptions filled in Canada if they're Americans? I don't know how that works. Kathleen says this leader may get infected and then wish for vaccination. Many here are regretful once they're in the ICU. Yeah, but by then it's a little late. And, and here's where the common sense is in that. You spin the Russian roulette wheel, what? Andy says, we now have idiots that are taking horse dewormer as a cure for COVID. They heard it on Fox News. Several people have been hospitalized. Okay, that's like when, what's his name, Trump turned around and said what about
drinking
like Lysol or something, or bleach or something like that. Like, okay, common sense, people, it's a poison. You don't take poison to fight a disease. In fact, the poison will probably kill you sooner than the disease will. Like, where's the common sense? Prescriptions are cheaper in Canada, apparently.
Probably.
Yeah, probably are, but I just don't understand how an American can go into a Canadian...
There are probably loopholes around. There's probably physicians around that you will give them some sort of a...
Well, maybe. I don't know.
You seem to be able to get stuff somehow, one way or another.
So one thing that our government has finally done, I've already mentioned this, but this is common sense, but this should have happened much sooner, that healthcare workers, whether they work in hospitals, they're doctors, they're nurses, they work in long-term care facilities or whatever, they need to be vaccinated. I mean, I would think that was a no-brainer. Like, you're working with sick people. Don't you want to protect yourself as well as the people you're working with? But apparently, there's quite a number of healthcare workers that haven't got it. But when you think about that, let's think about, and this is not to slam nurses because nurses are very important and nurses do an awful lot of work. I mean, they're to be admired. But I know of cases amongst nurses that don't get a flu shot.
Well, I know a couple of nurses that smoke and won't are anti-vaxxers.
Yeah, like no. And I asked the question at the nursing home the first time that we could go back in to physically visit my mother. They asked, all the questions they ask you. Have you been in contact with anybody with COVID? Are you feeling sick? Do you have any symptoms? Blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And after they asked me the questions, I turned around and I said to the receptionist and the guy that were asking me these questions, I said, so, can you tell me, I'm assuming that everybody that works here has been vaccinated? And the answer I got was a pregnant pause and, well, you'd have to speak to someone in the administration about that. I wouldn't really know.
Yeah, I know. They were testing. We went through this a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I know.
You're testing people coming into the nursing home, visitors, to make sure that they have their vaccinations. Yeah. But people working there don't all have their vaccinations.
No. So, I mean, now, wouldn't common sense dictate that people who are working that closely with sick people really need to be protected?
Judith said that she thinks insulin is way cheaper in Canada. I think it's because in Canada we tend to have a lot of generic drugs. And I think insulin is one of those drugs that it doesn't have to be a brand name. So
yeah, but my issue is here. Our drugs are our healthcare system.
Yeah, I know.
Is through our taxes. Why should someone from the States be allowed to get in on our healthcare who aren't paying into our healthcare? Where's the common sense in that?
No, I realize that. And there is plans in place from the federal government not to allow drugs to be shipped over to the U.S. for sale. But anyway, that's a whole different topic.
Yeah, I guess it is, but it is related to this because I don't know. So let's see, what's this finally approved? The FDA finally approved the
vaccine.
Which one?
Is it Pfizer or Moderna or
Johnson & Johnson or whatever they call that one? Like, I thought they already had the
No, they had emergency.
Oh, they haven't had anything approved?
No, it was emergency acceptance of the drug, not a full approval.
Oh. Okay. And yet that's the same organization that puts fat-free on things that really aren't fat-free. So, do you trust them? Kathleen says this is now a requirement where I live. Nursing home workers must be vaxxed. Yeah.
No, Marilyn, what we're talking about is if you have a prescription, usually it has to be done by a valid Canadian doctor to be able to get it filled.
I don't know.
You can't just go from one country to another and give somebody your prescription and say, okay, I need it filled. And so and other things that the government's now trying to do. The kids are going back to school in September here in our country. And kids, no, not right now. The kids over the age of 12 and over can be vaccinated. But the ones under 12 can't be yet because it hasn't been approved for kids that age group. Okay, so where's the logic? They're saying, our Ontario government say, we'll have all these things in place. They have not done anything that's different from a year ago. Except there's a HEPA filter in every classroom. First of all, I doubt there's one in every classroom. And a HEPA filter in a room the size of a classroom, what good is that going to do? That's smoke and mirrors. Because I said to Walter, it's an airborne disease, right? You got it. You're breathing it out. I'm standing here. He breathes in my air that I breathed out. He gets it. Well, unless you've got a HEPA filter and you walk up to the HEPA filter and if with every breath you expel, you're breathing it into the HEPA filter. And then the person on the other end is now breathing in only the HEPA filter purified air. How's that work?
That's smoke and mirrors to make parents think, oh yeah, the government's doing something for them. And they're still using these terms like cohort, where these kids all hang out with each other. They are kids. They do not hang out with the cohort. They have friends in other cohorts that as soon as the teacher's back is turned, or they've got some kind of free time, or they're outside at recess, they're going to go over to those other kids. You see it on the streets right now. There's kids running around. They're not all from the same household. They're not in the same cohort, and they're not wearing masks. Well, it's because it's outside. Well, if you're standing this far away from somebody, it doesn't matter if you're outside or not. If you're not wearing a mask, well, more chance of it spreading. Again, am I the only one that thinks this is just common sense? Apparently. But I'm glad I'm not teaching anymore. I'm glad I'm retired. Because I'd have to kill somebody. It's that. So, no, this is crazy. And this is what's going to happen. Okay? We've already had it. Some parent sent a kid a week ago, his child, to daycare. The kid had symptoms of COVID. 16 kids went home with symptoms of COVID from that one kid. They find the father, but it's a little late after the fact. Because why did the father send a sick kid to daycare? Why? Well, you know what their excuse is? Well, we can't get a babysitter. I'd have to stay home from work to look after him. Guess what? You had the kid. Your responsibility. Sorry about that, but it is your responsibility. So what's people saying here? So, I mean, the same thing's going to happen in school. So I'm pretty much sure. They're already saying we're in the fourth wave here in Ontario. And they're predicting that it's going to be a bad fall and a bad winter. And I think most of the cases now, the new cases, are going to come out of the school system. And now they're telling the high school kids, yeah, they've got to have their 2 shots by such and such a date. Well, they started to say that the day before. That was the last day when the kids could have the time frame before school started to have both shots. So you know that all the kids haven't had their 2 shots yet. Andy says, Stephen, you're trying to apply logical thought to illogical thinking. I know. All you'll end up with is a headache.
Said that they're paying out of pocket for drugs, and they pay more than we do, and it's still cheaper than the U.S. And they're Canadian doctors that are take American patients and write them a prescription. Yeah,
okay. There's corruption in every profession. Robin. Oh, welcome, Robin. I'm new here, but watch. I have news for you. In some Florida, parents are bringing COVID-positive children to school. Well, that's Florida. I mean, between Florida and Texas, 2 of the stupidest states in the United States, I think. Sorry if that offends some Americans, but they are. Why? Because they have no common sense. Bunch of rednecks, really, in what they do. Well, we have a province to match that, too. It's called Alberta. But, there you go. Stupid is what stupid does.
Well, I guess we've overdone this. Let's go
Okay,
on.
Why don't you start making the thing? I have things here. I plan things,
We do.
Okay. Yeah, but you don't pay any attention to the... Yeah. So anyways... Yeah, well, here's another good one. Walter just told me about this because I didn't hear about this one.
Wow.
And this is off the topic of COVID, but we'll go off the topic now because I've said my piece about that. I guess there was some woman in the States got 25 years because she deliberately ran over.
I read the story, but it was something about she thought that it was 2 Mexican kids or 2 Islamic kids. I'm not sure.
Either way, it doesn't matter. The fact is, it was a racially motivated hate crime. I mean, good thing. She got 25 years. I think she should be run over by a car myself. I think that would work a lot more effectively. But can you imagine the thought process there? I'm going to take my car and I'm going to deliberately run over.
Well, we've had it here that
that's
guy
true.
in London that decided to run over a family of people that were
of Muslim background.
Background.
Yeah, okay, we've got it here too. So, well, I'm not saying that the states have redneck cornered. I mean, we've got ours here too in this country as well. But I couldn't believe that. I mean, what's the thought process there? Like, really? I mean, and she's going to spend 25 years in prison for it. Maybe she was homeless and no, she had a car. So she wanted a place to live. I don't know, 3 meals a day, an hour of recreation every day out of the thing. A big, huge girlfriend named Bubba. I don't know out of it all. It's just, I couldn't believe that when you told me about that. So on to lighter things. So we were in, as I told you, into Ultimate Sewing. And Ultimate Sewing is thinking, well, not thinking, they're planning to run their annual retreat. It doesn't happen until March. So who knows what life will be like in March. And they're hoping they can do that. But we got asked to help out with it again. We did with the last one as well and did things. And basically it takes the workload off the person who's organizing it if we do it. But we have some ideas for that. And those of you that have seen some videos and things, the cousins will be making an appearance. Matilda Mudslinger and Gladass Happy Bum.
Maybe we can be a couple of Cruella de Vil.
Well, we could be, but we have to change the outfits this year and decide on what we're going for. But I've been working on some ideas for it. I know one thing we're not doing, bingo. That did not work with it. I organized this bingo game on the Saturday night. And I went online, and you can generate bingo cards that, you know, don't just have numbers on them, but you can have whatever you want. You give it a word list, for example. So I got all these bingo cards with quilting terms. This is a quilting retreat, right? Oh my God. The game went on forever. And I thought, okay, this is not good. I don't know why. Should have worked, but it didn't. So we're not doing that one again. Yeah, Marilyn, well, we'll just have to get about 101 Dalmatians to make coats out of. But hey, we can start with the little dog next door. It's not a Dalmatian, but, well, it's not big enough to make a scarf, let alone a coat. But no, I wouldn't do that to the little thing. It's so cute and yappy. So yeah, so that's going to be kind of fun. And okay, here's something else a little different. Amazon. Okay, like I always say, it's a day without sunshine is a day without Amazon delivery. So I order a lot of things from Amazon.
And it's a lot of stuff that it's hard to get in stores too.
Yeah,
so.
In fact, I love shopping on Amazon, really. I can get almost anything on Amazon. And you know, delivery, I'm a Prime member. I mean, I pay extra for that, but I get stuff pretty quick. And I've never really have any problems with the delivery. Well, yesterday a package came for me, and I'm feeling it. It's one of those plastic packages, and it's all oily. I mean, it's a clear, slippery, oil-like substance all over the outside of this. Plus, there was a hole in the side of the package. Well, I opened it all up, and the stuff that I had ordered, they were little parts from my 3D printer. They were all there, but everything inside the package was all oily too. And I thought, what is this? So I got rid of the packaging and I washed my hands and everything. But I thought, you know, what the heck? I got nothing better to do. Why don't I just make a little bit of a query/complaint to Amazon about it? Well, a little known fact, there is a chat feature in Amazon. It is buried through a series of menus. So finding it isn't easy, but I've used it before. And you usually get somebody really quick for that. Much faster than sending one through email. So I found the chat, I clicked on it, and I got somebody with a name that I have never seen in English language, which, you know what I mean. Anyways, and another advantage of using chat modes I find on things is you don't have to worry about someone's accent and not being able to understand them. Although sometimes their syntax, their grammar isn't the best, but anyways. So I said, okay, I just got this package and I just explained to them what I explained to you. And I said, you know, everything was there and whatnot, but I thought you should know about it because this is the first time this has ever happened to me and I get stuff on a regular basis from Amazon. So, well, the guy was, or whoever it was on the other end, I don't even know if it was a male or female because I couldn't tell from the name, said, sorry to hear about that and thank you for bringing it to our attention. And yes, we will definitely, he would put a a note into the people who look after logistics, as he called it, and that. And then I thought, because I was in that kind of mood, I thought, okay, yeah, you're telling me this, you're paying me lip service here. How do I know you've done that? So that's what I wrote. I said, so, okay, that's great, thank you. How would I know that this has actually gone to somebody in logistics? And he said, if you'd like, I can connect you with somebody in logistics. And I said, okay, sounds good to me. Let's do that. He says, okay, just give me a second. So off he went. And then within 30 seconds or something, a new person came up with another name I could not pronounce at all. And they said, just give me a second. I'm going to review your conversation. So they had access to it, which I thought was very good. Could see everything that we'd been talking about, and said, okay, I will transfer you to somebody else who would be better able to serve you with this matter. And I said, okay, fine. So off this person tooled, and about 30 seconds later, I got a new person. This person, I could pronounce her name. They were Olive the other reindeer. But I said, so Olive said, she looked it over and whatnot, and she says, well, so sorry that this has happened to you. But what I'm going to do, she says, I'm just going to connect you to another person who I took was a supervisor or something, somebody a little higher up on the food chain there. So I said, sure. So in 30 seconds, I got another one, another name I could not pronounce, but this one had really good grammar. So I'm thinking, okay, let's see what this one says. And this one said, all right, thank you for bringing this to our attention. This will go through to the logistics department, and it'll be reviewed by our delivery service people and everything like that, because that should not happen. And he said, I will give you a $10 credit. Now, I never asked for any money or anything or return, because my stuff was there. It wasn't damaged. It was just covered in oil. The packaging of it, right? So I said, well, you're going to give me something. Fine, I'll take it. So I said, sure. And he says, could you send me a picture of the package? And he gave me an email address to send it to. And I said, sure, I can do that right now. So I grabbed the packaging. I took 2 pictures. One showing actually could see the oil on the package, because the address label on the outside of it was, you know how they get, if you get something oily on a label, it kind of goes translucent and it starts to peel up. Well, that's exactly what this was doing. And I took a picture of the hole in the side of the package, and it was about 6 inches long. And I said, okay, so I sent it immediately to him. And so in the meantime, I guess I have a $10 credit next time I buy something on there. And so they got it. So, you know, sometimes you need to make them aware of this, because these Amazon delivery guys, they just drop and run. In fact, they're not even ringing our doorbell anymore.
No.
Of course, mind you, we have a Ring doorbell, so it goes off
But they
automatically.
don't even get close enough to the Ring doorbell.
No,
for it to
lately
go
they're
off,
just like gone like a shot. Yeah, well, that's what Walter said, Marilyn. Another package probably leaked in the truck. But the thing was, and I was trying to point this out to Walter yesterday, and he still wasn't getting me, or I wasn't getting him. I can understand that leaking in there, and it's on the outside of the package. How did it get inside the package?
You said there was a hole in it.
Well, yeah, there was, but the hole was a slit in the seam, and it wasn't gaping. Now,
Yeah,
maybe
but,
it was at the
but
time.
those,
I don't know.
those packages look like they're waterproof. But I have had one where they threw it on the doorstep, and it had leaked inside the package. Even though it was a plastic package, it looks like they're supposed to be waterproof, but I don't think they are.
Oh. Anyways, I don't know. But I don't know. I was in the mood yesterday to... I mean, I really didn't... I wasn't really complaining. I just thought it should be something they're made aware of, because Amazon always advertises that they want your feedback on everything. So I thought, well, here's an opportunity to give them some feedback with it. So, but anyways, I just thought it was... I copied the conversation, and it's kind of funny to read it, because it the way it goes from one person to the next person, and you know, it's just funny how that all works. But at least they did something. I mean, it wasn't like Bell. You go on to Bell and you have a 5-hour wait time conversation. And I'm not exaggerating that. I actually did one day. 5.5 hours. I was on chat and phone at the same time to solve something that was extremely simple to solve. But nobody seemed to be able to figure it out. How long did it take to get that $10 credit? 1 minute, 2 minutes. Well, no, maybe 3, because that was at the 4th level. But it wasn't, they offered it to me. I didn't ask. I didn't ask for anything. I didn't ask for my money back. I didn't ask for a credit. Nothing at all. I just was making them aware of it. And they're the ones that said, so don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Like, well, I mean, a small company doing that, I would feel a little bit, okay, no, I'm not really looking for something for nothing here or anything like that. But with a company like Amazon, $10, and I have a feeling that's probably their usual thing, is, let's give them $10. Yeah, $10 out of the millions and billions that they make a year is not going to really affect their bottom line. But anyways, but then again, it's nice of them to do that. And I think they know that. They know about customer relations. So anyways, I just thought I'd bring that up. So I had two interviews lined up, which aren't going to happen. And those of you that might be new here or whatever, hi, Adrian. I'm running out of people to interview. Adrian is one person, the hat lady. I have interviewed her, and I'm sure some of you have enjoyed her interview because you said so. So once again, I'm putting out an appeal. I've run out of interviews. In fact, this week I will not have an interview to put up. However, I had one person who I interviewed, and she took it upon herself to be helpful. She contacted 2 people that own stores out in the Edmonton area of Canada, saying about interviewing them. And she sent me their contact information, but she had sent them my contact information. So I thought, well, okay, now I like to interview people that are subscribers. I'm not going out to interview people that what I would consider perfect strangers, but I also like to review stores, online stores for quilting products that are Canadian. And since both of these ladies have Canadian outlets, I thought, sure, why not? So I sent them both copies of the guide questions and told them, give me a date and give me a time that's good for you. These are the questions. You're free to alter them in whatever way you see fit and everything. It's very relaxed. We'll do it by Zoom and the whole bit. I'll make it fit into your schedule for this. And one of them I've never heard anything from at all. Nothing. Another one, she sent me back the answers to all the questions. She wrote them out. That wasn't my intent. She didn't need to spend the time writing these answers out. So I wrote her back and thanked her for doing that. But I said, you didn't need to do that because we're going to do it all on Zoom. So, in other words, what I'm saying is you kind of wasted your time. I mean, I appreciate you put this time and effort and thought into it. Well, she told me when she was available. And I wrote back to her and said, great. I can work with any of those days of the week. They were just days of a week. They weren't actual dates or times. And I said, so you give me a date that works for you and a time, and I will set up the Zoom link and send it to you. Well, that was about 5 days ago or longer. I haven't heard anything since. So I guess they're really not interested. And, if they're running a business, they're probably pretty busy. The other thing too is they might have thought, and maybe they have thought better of it, I am not doing this to promote somebody's business. It's not an infomercial. Infomercial. Is that right? Yeah, infomercial. I'm doing this to take people who are quilters, average everyday quilters and crafters who are not experts. They're just like everybody else. They do these things for their hobbies and to, explore their journey with it. And if you've seen these interviews, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not interested in interviewing professionals because those people get interviewed all the time. I just want ordinary people. That's all. And give them their 15 minutes in the spotlight kind of a thing. And, because there's a lot of talent out there that people don't know anything about, because these people are not considered gurus because they don't promote themselves. That's what I want. So anyways, having said that, anybody on here that, don't be shy. I'd like to interview you if I haven't already. It doesn't hurt. Andy and Jeannie and Adrian can tell you that. And Fidel. So, because they're all people I have interviewed on here. So, anyways, yeah, think about it. So, what are we watching? New show on Prime. Kind of weird, but not bad. It's got Nicole Kidman in it. And they've had 3 episodes up, and I guess, what do they come out on?
I think they come out on Hulu on Wednesdays. And it's called, what, 9 Perfect Strangers or something? Like
Yeah, but it's a production by Hulu, but we're watching it on Prime.
Yeah.
It's Amazon Prime. If you don't have Amazon Prime, you can't see it. But it's called 9 Perfect Strangers. It's actually, I kind of like it because there's quite a mystery around these 9 people who go to this wellness spa, and Nicole Kidman is the owner and operator of it, but all of these characters have a background story that make them all a little bit weird. It's got some big name stars in it, so it's not like a budget production and anything, but it's pretty good. I kind of like it.
Your sewing teacher is getting
Yes, Amy. Good, because I definitely want to interview you, Amy. So thank you for that. And as soon as I get your email and that, I will send you the guide questions, and we will discuss when a good time is to do the Zoom interview. Thank you. Yeah, so that, and we're still watching, I was going to say Van Halen, Van Helsing. Well, Helsing. We're in the 3rd season of it. It's a vampire kind of, like a...
Yeah, first season I wasn't really getting into it, but actually 2nd season I thought I got a little better.
It's getting better now on it. So, and what else? Haven't really found anything new besides Amy, your sewing teacher, on YouTube that has got me all excited. Always looking for new things on there. And what's cooking? Oh, there was a sale on... Okay, Walter goes out. And he says, I'm going out to buy some groceries. I'm just getting a loaf of bread. $50 later, he's come home. Well, we needed this, and I thought we should have this. This was on sale. So his latest on sale were chicken thighs. Now, I think we've talked about chicken thighs before, that a lot of people have an aversion to eating dark meat chicken. But if you're going to make Indian or anything that, you're going to have a sauce or stew it in something, chicken thighs are the best for it because they're nice and moist and juicy. They don't dry out like chicken breasts. So Walter was deboning because we usually buy deboned and skinless ones, but chicken thighs have gone expensive. They used to be garbage food for Canadians, but now they're like premium. Sometimes they're more expensive than my chicken breasts.
So I thought I'd try my hand at deboning them, and I did that, and I don't think I'd do that again. They're a fair bit of work. So,
yeah. But they were on sale. Well, they were what, $1.88?
$1.98 a pound.
But then you figured out after you, and I said, well, they're weighing the bone in them.
Yeah, well, by the time you debone them, that works out to about $3.50 a pound.
Yeah, so your little bargoon was actually double.
Yeah, I know, but considering they were $6 or $7 a pound normally, so.
But then considering the time it took you to debone the...
I know.
Yeah, whatever. So, had a coupon. Yeah, really. On that. Amy says, new show, The Chair. What's that on, Amy?
I did see it somewhere. I can't remember where it was. I think it's either Prime or Netflix.
Is it like, what kind of show is it? Is it a mystery, cops and robbers, supernatural? I love supernatural ones. Horror. Oh, Walter's looking it up now.
Try and look it up.
So, yeah, because we're always looking for new shows to watch, too. We never watch regular TV anymore. In fact, we dropped down. Oh, yeah, here's another thing. We wanted to get rid of our landline. All right?
Netflix.
Oh, it's on Netflix. Okay, we'll look that one up. we want to get rid of our landline because we really don't use it. We use our cell phones, and all we get on our landline are people trying to clean our ducts and scam us, okay? So I called up our provider. Yeah, it would have cost me more to get rid of the landline because we have everything are in bundles. We have our internet and our TV and our phone all with one company kind of a thing. Oh, it's a rom-com. Okay. And so I said to them, well, I want to get rid of the landline. And she says, okay, well, I see you have it bundled. So then the bundles get canceled. It was going to cost me to get rid of the landline about $20, $25 more a month for our internet and our TV than it would cost to keep the landline. So what I did was I kept the landline, but I dropped it right down to the most basic. No call waiting, no voicemail, nothing. And so we're going to save about $22 a month on our phone bill by doing that. Which, really, that's how they get you. So, yeah, great company. So anyways, okay, well, we'll check that one out, Amy. And I'll be talking to you anyways, too, for the interview. That's great. Anybody else wants an interview, go for it. And I don't know, anything else to talk about this week? I think we've got it all covered for now. Okay. Oh, one other thing. Where's our Yellowstone? Yes, I know. I love that show, and I'm waiting for the next season of that, too, Marlene. So, I was just going to say that, people monetize. My channel is monetized, and you already know, I've talked about before, I don't make that much in a month. I'm lucky if I get $100 a month. Well, YouTube a few months ago put up this thing about taxes, American taxes, even though I'm Canadian. And they were going to start collecting them from whatever you made on AdSense for this. So I had to fill out a form and everything. So I had done that way back in May or something. Well, I noticed that my thing was coming up that I'd hit my threshold of $100. Actually, it was a little higher than that. I think I was up to, because I didn't get paid last month because I hadn't hit the $100 threshold, which they don't pay out until you hit that. I had about $178 Canadian, I think, that they were going to pay out to me on the 21st, which was yesterday. Minus $41 US tax money. And I went, what? So I did some investigation today. And apparently we have a tax treaty with the United States. And I had to go through a lot of menus to find the forms for this. But now I have applied and I've been approved to not be taxed. So it says, 0 rate. I can't understand how this works. It sounds like a money grab on YouTube's part. And Google. It's Google, because Google owns YouTube and AdSense. It's all part of that. Because I'm not an American citizen. And you pay taxes because you get something back for taxes, like the infrastructure and things like that. But I live in Canada. Why would I be contributing through my taxes to the American infrastructure? I don't get it. So we'll see how that works out. I mean, I'm small potatoes, but I'm thinking of people like the guy who runs Curiosity Inc. I know some of you watch him. He brings in, he's never said how much he brings in a month, but I've done some figuring it out based on what I bring in and how this money comes in. He's making thousands each month on all of that. So, and bully for him. But his income tax would be really high. So I don't know. He probably knows how to get around it. Hi, Cindy. Oh, shit. So Amy says it's about a research chair of an English department at university. Oh, okay. Well, I used to be an English teacher, so that might have some appeal to me. We'll check it out. Okay, everybody. I think that's our time today. And, yeah. Oh, what's that? I sent the forms a few months ago. I think they just assume everyone's American because they are American-based. Well, you might want to look into it, Amy, for the exemption for Canadians, because we have a treaty with them or something. See how that works out. Okay, so I think we're going to say goodbye. And, yeah, I hope everybody has a good week. Vlog will be up on Monday. Tuesday, Idiot Quilter. Friday will be So Chatty. We need topics for So Chatty as well. And we'll see you next Sunday for live as well. So keep safe, keep healthy, keep happy, and all that stuff. We'll see everybody again soon. Okay? Bye-bye for now. Say goodbye, Walter.
Goodbye.
Where's my arrow? There it is.